अब दावत देना चाहूँगी मुमताज़ बरतानवी स्कॉलर डॉक्टर इक़्तिदार चीमा को सदारती खिताब के लिए, PhD, डायरेक्टर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ लीडरशिप एंड कम्युनिटी डेवलपमेंट, UK।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Lord Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, and the author of the book. It's indeed a privilege to chair this wonderful session of this book launch or book review. I won't say it's a book review because a book has not been read by, I think, most of us. I will write a detailed review about it later when I read it. But one thing is very important. I would like to congratulate Sajjad for this, that you have actually revived the great tradition of Muslims' contribution to this continent of Europe. What we keep forgetting is that book reading, book writing, seeking knowledge, spreading knowledge is something which our Muslim forefathers have done, not in Arab or Asia, but in this continent of Europe. And those who don't believe me, they should go and visit Spain, visit Ishbilia, Hilia, Cordoba universities, and should read modern scientists who are now reflecting that what huge contribution Ibn Sina, Al-Kundi, Al-Razi, Ibn Hashim, and many others have contributed for the renaissance of this continent of Europe. But it's very unfortunate that that role, that progressive role of reading, writing, has declined in the Muslims and in the Muslim civilization. And I think these sort of efforts are the revival of that great tradition of spreading knowledge in this continent of Europe. Immigrant, well, it's a very buzzword these days, migration immigrant. I think you will be very popular amongst the circles of Theresa May and the government, and I think Her Majesty the Queen going to reflect on a couple of issues. So we wait for her speech on end of this month. I think migrants have contributed quite tremendously in this country, not only in the economy, not only in its diversity, but we need to look at the contribution prior 60s. The other day I've dropped an email to the Lord Lieutenant of the West Midlands, Paul, who is an immigrant himself, and he's the first man from the South Asian background to be the Lord Lieutenant of the County of West Midlands, highlighting Muslims' contribution in the First World War, because other communities are celebrating it. And our forefathers have given blood and sacrifices to this continent and this country to safeguard its frontiers during the First and the Second World War, and all the war memorials wherever they are in this country. When you go and read, you will find a lot of Muslim names there. Khudadad Khan, who was the first Victoria Cross winner from South Asian, was a Muslim. He was from Pakistan today, and we have Dhalmial village where there is a big British cannon. I mean, all that reflects that what is our contribution to this state and this society and to this country. But we need to really celebrate that. I think we need to understand that, I mean, a lot of people talk about integration. I'm not a very big fan of that. I think multiculturalism should survive. Integration doesn't mean that we forget who we are and what our identity is, and nobody should push us into such an integration. Integration means that we celebrate our cultural diversity, we safeguard the interests of all the communities, as well as communities need to understand, specifically Muslims, that this country offers us a lot. It gives us all good opportunities to excel, to propagate peacefully about our religion, and to educate our youth. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who's a noble example for me, whom I follow in my life, was an immigrant himself. He migrated to Medina, but we need to look at his character very closely, that as an immigrant to Medina, he was very progressive, he was very forward-looking, and the communities in Medina very well received him because he promoted the community cohesion, and he lived very peacefully with them. He signed a treaty with the Jews. He also gave a convent to the Christians. So these are the things we need to follow. And on more, I mean, I would like to conclude, because time is very short, that our forefathers who came here 60s, 70s, they have made a physical infrastructure. We can see mosques, we can see many other things. We have to now move on to the next stage where we celebrate this, but we educate our youth and make them productive, forward-looking citizens of Britain. And I think that this book should reflect on that. And thank you all.